Hi, on the road, day 2 in Sweden. We thought we'll come here quickly in our lunch break and share what we are learning. Helen, do you want to start something that you were sharing earlier?
Yep, so I went to a really interesting session where the researcher focused on what they called the twilight time in extended education. It was a Swedish researcher, which is important. Why is that important to note who researched it, Saurubh?
Oh, is it because we have Swedish researchers, we have Australian, of course, we have Danish, we have Italian researchers and Turkish researchers as well. So therefore it is kind of important for us to mention Swedish researcher because maybe that plays a role in what we are going to share.
Yeah. So they were talking about that last hour of care and how potentially it's not being used to its full potential, and that there is some great opportunities for learning in that last hour, and that children that are there from that last hour shouldn't miss out just because maybe a large group has gone home, the majority of the educators have gone home. Saurubh and me were discussing it earlier. We noted that in the Australian context, we know people are cleaning. So just looking at it from that time for educators that are still there with that small group of children to really make those connections and look at how we can promote learning and really utilise all of the time we have with our children.
I think also gives us time for those deeper connections. Many a times when I'm talking to people and they say we don't have time, and I agree with that. We don't have time. Perhaps at 3:15 we don't have time. 3:30 we don't have time. 4 o'clock maybe, but after that we do have time. So maybe time for making deeper connections. But I guess also leaders would have to create that space for educators to go, hey, you know what? Why don't you go and talk to these children and don't worry about cleaning yet. We'll deal with that. But I guess it's organizational as well. I mean, there are lots of reasons why things happen the way they happen. And also, given that if it's a topic of discussion today or yesterday, that also tells me that this might be happening here as well. Otherwise, why are we talking about that? So it's not just exclusive to Australia.
So tell me, Doctor, what have you found interesting with the sessions you've been attending?
Keynote. We both attended that one, so I thought we'll share with you on that and see what your reflection might be. Discretion. They were talking about this organizational discretion, personal discretion, and the judgment that we make on behalf of children. We do listen to children's voices, and there are tools that we capture those voices. And we've talked in the past that sometimes we can't capture all of them. But what I'm left with is that I understand discretion is important, but it might need a little bit of critical reflection if our discretion is ethical or not. The analogy they used was about this donut, and in the middle is discussion. That is to show that you have an organization, but within that organization, you're making those decisions because you're influenced by that organization. I say you're also sometimes influenced by personal biases or religious biases or organizational biases. And I kept waiting for the word ethics to be used somewhere. So I've already talked to the keynote speaker about that, and we were just talking about how if discretion is in the middle, maybe ethics is surrounding that, because within those ethics, we make those judgments. And we may or may not be aware of those ethics. So critical reflection is required. And I think My Time, My Place has mentioned that when you're doing critical reflection, you actually allow the other educators in your life to make a contribution to yourself and let their perspective hit you, let their perspective influence what you're saying. But that's pretty much it. Discretion, ethics. That is what I learned and Twilight Zone. So thank you very much for listening, and we'll try to share with you more as we go along.
We will catch up with you all soon.
Thank you very much. Bye.
See you later.